Hi again then guys, and welcome back to our look into the past of the Forza franchise, once again to the first Horizon game, to another one of my personal favourite cars in the game, and one of the most significant cars not to be featured anymore, because, of course, as I've always said, the point of these review series is to look at vehicles which are just like that. They're cool, but they're no longer featured on Forza. So with that in mind, this has always struck me as a very strange one. Of all of the cars to have in one Forza game, and that's literally it. You do not see this car in any other Forza game before or since, Horizon or Motorsport. Why would they do that? Specifically even with this car, the Toyota FJ Cruiser. It seems like a really weird choice of vehicle to have in one game alone. Especially when on, for instance, Horizon 3, you've got beaches, like actual beaches, and this is pretty much the definition of a surfer dude SUV. I've always loved the Toyota FJ Cruiser of this generation in particular, and of course we do have the much older FJ Cruiser on Horizon as a barn find, but this one in particular is only featured on Horizon 1, and that's so weird to me. Now unfortunately, due to the fact that Toyota seems to be, to say the least, very vague about what cars they will and won't allow in various racing games, be it Forza or Gran Turismo at the moment. They're bringing some back, they're taking some out, who really knows what they're doing. This one has a fairly low chance, let's just say, of being brought back. But at the same time, it's one which I would love to see brought back. More so, of course, in the Horizon games, for fairly obvious reasons, but even if it came back in, say, Forza 7 as part of a DLC, I'd be happy with that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be cool. So for those who maybe haven't played the first Horizon game, or just never picked up the car, which is understandable, it certainly doesn't shout for your attention, what could you expect if you do? Well, the price, first of all, is really good. This is only a 26,000 credit car. That's dirt cheap for an SUV in general, let alone a newer one with as good a spec as this one has. Now of course you have to bear in mind, the FJ Cruiser is not a high performance SUV. At the same time though, it's got a really good spec. It's got a 4-litre engine, all-wheel drive, as you'd probably assume, 260 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque, and the weight is even not that bad. It weighs under 2 tons, 1965 kilos. That's a lot lighter than many of the other SUVs in the game. That's a lot lighter, for instance, than the Cadillac Escalade. Of course, it's a whole lot lighter than the Hummer H1, but others too. That's impressive, and given that all of those numbers are stock, that's pretty good. That's a lot to work with, so the potential is certainly there. But the best thing about the FJ Cruiser is that not only does it have potential, but thankfully for those who are fans of it, or those who just want to try something different, it actually delivers on that potential, because when you use this car on Horizon 1, it's a genuinely great car. In particular, I used to use this car an awful lot online for the, I think it was Goliath event, I think they called it Goliath back then, the biggest race in the game, basically, where you start on the motorway, run all the way around the map. This was a great car for that event, and in fact it's a great car for any high-speed event in lower classes, because although you may not expect it, it's actually one of the quickest vehicles for the lower classes, say class D or C. Because you can get so much power out of this thing, even at those low levels, that you end up actually having really great performance. But another great thing about the FJ as well, when it comes to performance, which is kind of ironic how good it is given that it's not a performance SUV, really, it's really good through corners too. And that's kind of surprising, given that the car doesn't look like it's designed for corners. It looks like it's designed for, well, as I alluded to earlier, laid-back surfer dudes. That's great, because it can do that. It has a surfer image, it delivers on the surfer image, but at the same time, you can take corners and seriously worry a lot of other SUVs. In fact, you can worry some sports cars too, in the lower levels, because in an SUV or a truck, they will allow you to have a lot more power because you have so much more weight. And as a result of that, it's a great car. Now, fully tuned, if memory serves, I think you could even fit this one with a Supra engine. I'm not sure, I'm not certain on that, but I think you could, and get the power up around something like 850. If my memory is correct there, then that's pretty rapid too. So either way, even if it wasn't a Supra engine, I do remember that it was rapid, very rapid in fact, in its fully tuned form. So if this car were to make a comeback to either the Horizon or Motorsport franchises, but probably the Horizon ones in particular, maybe Horizon 4 for instance, or a Horizon 3 DLC, but I'm not sure if they've finished the DLC now, it's been a while since we had any, but if they were to bring it back, I have no doubt that I would get a ton of use out of this car, and so would plenty of other people as well, because this was a fairly popular one to use online in those lower class events. So it is pretty nice to see that on certain occasions the community as a whole do get behind and enjoy the benefits of what you could say genuinely is actually a unicorn car, because in a weird kind of way it's actually one of the rarest cars of the entire Forza franchise. So if you do get the chance to go back to the first Horizon game and check out some of the cars, this is definitely a highlight, more so if you're racing online, but even in the main game. You can get a lot of use out of this thing, it's a lot of fun, it looks great, it sounds pretty good, the performance is fantastic, and it's dirt cheap. It really is one of my favourite cars of the first Horizon game, and also one of the most usable. But that's it for this pick overall. Of course, I'll see you guys next time, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.